Avon Lake Matters is a bi-weekly podcast about everything that matters to and about Avon Lake. Hi, I'm your host, Jen Miller, and joining us today is Joel Krueck. He is the president of the Avon Lake Greater Years Corp, and we're here to talk about the organization as well as the projects they worked with and funded as well, and most recently, the community van of Avon Lake. So welcome to our program, Joel.
Thank you.
Yes. So give us a little bit of background about you.
Well, I actually live in Amherst now, but I lived in Avon Lake for about 10 years and have stayed involved in the community since I moved in 1988.
Okay.
And I've stayed involved in the community with the Avon Lake Kiwanis Club. I've been a member for over 40 years of the Avon Lake Kiwanis Club.
Wow. Thank you.
So that's basically my involvement.
Yeah, it's a fantastic organization. And so is the Avon Lake Greater Years Corp, is that a part of Kiwanis?
Well, Greater Years came about back in probably late 70s. The Avon Lake Kiwanis and other community members were interested in bringing low-cost housing for senior citizens to Avon Lake. So they created Beach Park Tower.
Okay.
Right now, Kiwanis doesn't have any specific role in the governance of Greater Years, but we have a board of 9 members, 5 of which have to be members of Kiwanis.
Okay.
So Kiwanis doesn't have any specific control over the board other than just members.
Okay. Okay. And they help make decisions and things like that, or are they just...
Yeah, I mean, the board always votes for whatever we're doing. Okay.
Oh, that's great. So, and talk a little bit about Beach Park Towers, because I don't even know if a whole lot of people in Avon Lake know about it, but I think it's a fantastic facility.
It's here to provide specifically for Avon Lakers, but there's a waiting list of people to get into Beach Park Tower. There's income qualification necessary, and generally by age, it has to be senior citizens. However, we do have some people that have handicaps that are also there, and we have 150 units in the building.
Wow. Wow. It's prime location, too, right on Lake Road.
Yes.
Yeah, especially with the power plant renovations down the road.
It's going to be interesting to see what happens there.
Yeah. You get a front row seat. They get a front row seat. Yeah. So how does the Greater Years Corp get funded?
Well, the group from Kiwanis and other people developed a corporation to put together and get funding to get this started.
Okay.
John Furchel was one of the original people developer from Cleveland.
Okay.
That was involved in this project and helped put it together. The original people from Avon Lake went to Elyria Savings and Trust Bank, who had a branch here in Avon Lake, and they provided some initial funding to get the project started. It was a loan, but they did it with the signature of just some of these major citizens in Avon Lake.
Wow.
So that was developed. That's where the initial funding came from to get it started.
Okay. And now, do you do fundraisers or anything to raise money now?
No. Now we have a partner. Millennia Corporation is our partner in the building. They operate the building.
Okay.
But the funds that come in, which are like Section 8,
okay.
A lot of the people in there are in Section 8 housing, and the profits from the building are split between Millennia and Avon Lake Greater Years. So even though we don't do any of the operations, we share in the profits because we own 87% of the building now.
Wow.
Initially, they had investors come in. They had tax credits that they could get.
Okay.
And as those expired, they had an ownership interest in the building, and they donated it to nonprofit. The Avon Lake Greater Years is a nonprofit. So they were able to donate to Avon Lake Greater Years. That's why we ended up with 87% of the building.
Wow.
So
that's fantastic.
So that's where the money comes from anyway. We split the profits. And for many years, we didn't have very much, but that has grown over the years.
Right.
What we do with the funds is for the benefit of the residents there and other senior citizens in Avon Lake. And that's where we've come up with why we're involved with the project with the bus.
Right. Yeah, because the community van helps that population as
Yes.
well as Avon Lake's
Correct.
a majority of senior citizens or residents are senior citizens.
Right.
Oh, okay. So explain. I love this story. How did this happen? The community van.
Well, I happened to be reading my local newspaper, and there was an article in there saying Avon Lake was applying for the grant for the van and was in a need in Avon Lake. And it seemed like it wasn't going to go through. And so I called Marzulka at the time and asked him if he'd be interested in some help from Greater Years. And he said, of course. So I went back to the board, and the board's been looking at ways to invest in Avon Lake anyway, so they jumped on it naturally and approved us funding the van.
Nice.
After we want to make sure all our ducks were in a row, and we made sure that everything was properly done with the city. And we met with Mr. Brubaker, who was representing the city at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And they made sure that we got everything we wanted in the van and the city wants in the van. And so it's going to benefit the residents of Beach Park Tower and also other citizens of Avon Lake.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have the van schedule on the city website. You can find out when you can use it, how you use it. All that information is on the city website. But yeah, what a great, it just goes hand in hand, and how wonderful that you were able to fund that. Because I know the other van was over 10 years old and needing
Yes.
lots of repairs. And
What a need.
yeah, that's fantastic. So has the Greater Years, have you funded any other projects or?
Basically, this is the biggest thing we've done as
Yeah.
far as spending money. I mean, we generally, we provide like Christmas parties for the residents and other events during the year we pay for. And any improvements, we've done improvements on the building several times where we've redone the community room and things like that.
Nice, nice. So if people want to get more information on Beach Park Tower, if they would like to apply, I know you said there's a waiting list, but how do people get more information on that?
The building manager, Karen, is where they would contact. As they said, there's a waiting list to enter the building, but certainly it doesn't take that long for people to get in there.
Right, right. That's fantastic. And when did you say, I'm sorry, when did you say the building was built?
Somewhere around 1979, I believe.
Okay.
So it's been there for a while. We just did a major renovation because it's been a while.
Yeah.
But about a year ago, 2 years ago, we did the renovation.
Nice. Oh, right. Well, thank you so much for all your organization does. And that's awesome that you're, still a part and giving back to the Avon Lake community. We appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's definitely a need, and it's wonderful to put a face and a name for who's filling that need. So
Yeah.
thank you.
I mean, we've had a number of people that have been, solid citizens of Avon Lake that have been on the board. I don't think there's anyone left from the original board. Just recently, John Knipper, which I think everybody in Avon Lake knows John. He was the president for many years until he stepped down from the presidency maybe 8 or 10 years ago when I took over. But he was on the board until like last year.
Wow.
When he finally decided it was time to retire.
Yeah, yeah. That's the one beautiful thing about it. I mean, not the only thing, but one of a beautiful thing about Avon Lake is the residents, how much they give back to the community.
Right.
It's just, we find examples of it over and over and over again.
Yeah, I mean, some of the people involved are like Earl McMichael, which a lot of people in Avon Lake remember Earl fondly, and Skip Scoogin, I believe, was also on that board. There are just a number of really good people.
Yeah, yeah, and that's wonderful that you're a part of that group.
I'm glad to be able to do it.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much for joining us, Joel, and giving us this information. And like I said, putting a face and a name behind the project that you're funding. So thank you.
Thank you.
Subscribe to Avon Lake Matters wherever you get your podcasts, and check out the full podcast library at avonlake.org/podcast. If you have any topics of interest or people that you would like to have featured, please call us at 440-933-7677 or email us at digitalmedia@avonlake.org.